And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Chapter 11, Heredity, Section 11.3, Other Patterns of Inheritance. Here's our vocabulary terms. The first one, incomplete dominance. When the phenotype of the two alleles blend, it is called incomplete dominance. So instead of winner takes all for the two alleles, they kind of share the phenotype. That's going to be incomplete dominance. Codominance. When an organism that has both alleles of a gene displays both phenotypes at the same time. Polygenic traits. Polygenic or polygenic traits are determined by more than one gene. So, other patterns of inheritance. Peas have many traits that are determined by only two alleles, such as purple flowers versus white flowers, green seeds versus yellow seeds, wrinkled versus round, and yellow pods versus green pods, and so many others. So everything that Mendel studied was only dominant or recessive. He didn't do any of the complex stuff. However, because plants and animals have thousands of genes, some patterns of inheritance are actually different. Determining biological sex in humans using sex chromosomes. Pea plants have both female and male parts on the same plant. Many organisms, like humans, have distinct male and female individuals. Sex chromosomes carry genes that determine whether an individual is female or male. Male and female genotypes. X is the female chromosome, Y is the male chromosome. The female phenotype is XX, while the male phenotype is XY. So, female is the phenotype, XX is the genotype. I should have mentioned that. Okay, so phenotype would be female, genotype is XX, phenotype male, genotype XY. During meiosis, sex chromosome pairs separate. Females produce eggs with only an X chromosome. Males produce sperm with either an X or Y chromosome. So I have a Punnett square here, and the Punnett square shows the probability of male and female offspring. And it wants to know what is the probability of a boy or girl offspring. So we're going to take the X and the Y, which can be produced by a male. So we have our X or our Y that can be produced by the sperm. And we have our female, which can give either an X or another X to the egg. As we cross the Punnett square, by moving our X's over and our genotypes down here, we come up with 2 chances of XX, 2 chances of XY, out of 1, 2, 3, 4 possibilities. So we have a 2 out of 4 is a 1/2, which is 50%. So there is a 1/2 or 50% probability of a boy, and the same for girl. Okay, so we're going to talk about incomplete dominance and codominance. So, newsflash 8th grade. As you guessed, traits aren't always perfectly dominant or recessive. But we have to learn about them that way first, so we can understand the more complicated version. We're about to get to the more complicated version. So pink flowers from red and white. If we were to cross true breeding red snapdragons, we can use a capital R, with white snapdragons, capital W, we would expect, based on Mendel's work, we would expect either all red or all white. But the reality, they are going to come out pink. So if we cross two pink, which would be RW snapdragons, the offspring will have a 25% chance of red, 50% chance of pink, and 25% chance of white. And we can show that using a Punnett square. So the flower color, so we're still talking about incomplete dominance. The flower color in snapdragons is an example of incomplete dominance. In incomplete dominance, the phenotype of the two alleles blend, just like mixing paints. Notice, with incomplete dominance, both alleles are represented by capital letters, and the letters are different. Capital R, capital W for red and white. R for red, W for white. It's just the letter they start with in the language we're talking about this in. So if we were talking in, let's say Spanish, we would have R for rojo and B for blanco. So it doesn't, those letters only mean a symbol for what we're talking about. So on my Punnett square, if I mix my red flowers with my white flowers, I'm going to bring in my R's to all these spots, bring in my W's to all of these spots, and we're going to come out with RW, 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 RW. Every single possibility, 100% chance of getting RW offspring. RW, we said, represents pink because the capital R is going to mix with the capital W, and it's going to be red plus white, makes a very light red, which we would call pink. So in the second generation, if we mix a pink with another pink, let me write that in with a pretty pink pen here. So pink is R and W. So I'm just going to bring in my R, bring in my R, bring in my W, bring in my W. Bring down my R, bring down my R, bring down my W, bring down my W. And I'm just going to write them in alphabetical order just because that's a convenient way to make it happen. It looks nice that way to me. So when we mix the RWs, the pink flowers, there's a 1 in 4 chance of red, 2 in 4 chance of pink, 1 in 4 chance of white. 25, 50, 25%. Codominance. So when a pair of alleles displays both phenotypes at the same time, it is called codominance. Co means like working together. So in some cats, a cross between a black, capital B, and a tan, capital T cat, equals tabby, capital B, capital T. So black is capital B, tan is capital T, and if we cross them, we're going to come up with BT, 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 BT. Look at all those BTSs. Okay, so it is 100% of BT. So this cat would be both black and tan at the same time, and that is what the book calls a tabby cat. So let's get a little kitty cat going on here. It's got eyes of nightmare fuel. It's got some whiskers. It's got his face. Oh yeah, that is a beautiful cat. Oh, it's nice and fat. It's got feet. It's got paws. It's got a tail. And it's got another foot. Yeah, it's only got 2 feet, so let's put another one back there and another one back there. So it's going to have some black stripes on it. But it's also going to be tan. So let's color them in. Yay, beautiful, right? Is that even going to show up as different colors? Not really. So if you think of like that classic black and brown striped cat, that is your tabby cat. Let's get some stripies on him. He's not quite a tiger, but I mean, he wishes he was deep down on the inside. You know the cats. The ones that think they're like all big and bad, and then they see you and they're like, oh, I'm just a teeny little baby kitty cat. Yeah, that's what this guy is. So he's going to be a little bit of brown and black at the same time, making a tabby cat. So, if a tabby cat crossed with a black cat, what is the probability that a kitten might have tabby fur? Well, our tabby cat is BT. Our black cat is BB. If we fill out the Punnett square, I bring my B, I bring my B, 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 bring my T, bring my T. It's tedious to say this out loud, isn't it? So I'm going to come out with 1, 2 out of 4 is my probability of BB. My probability of BT is 2 out of 4. So if I reduce each of these, it's 1/2 and 1/2, which is 50%. So BT is 1/2, which is 50%. So if I take a tabby cat and mix it with the black cat, there's a 50-50 chance of it being black or being tabby. All right. We're still talking about other patterns of inheritance, this time environmental factors. What? Okay, that's right. Oh, okay, so other patterns of inheritance include multiple alleles, polygenic traits, and environmental factors. So this section is other patterns of inheritance and environmental factors. Okay, first we're talking about multiple alleles. Multiple allele traits are determined by more than 2 alleles. So if we remember way back to 11.1, like a whole 2 weeks ago, pea flowers, we used capital P to represent purple and lowercase p to represent white. There were 2 alleles. There was a purple allele or a white allele, and in this situation, purple was dominant, white was recessive, and one was the clear winner, the other one was not. But if we're talking about something like human blood type, we actually have 3 alleles. It can be A, B, or O. It's determined by 3 different possible alleles. However, we still only have 2 alleles in our body for blood type. So each individual can have 2 alleles at the same time. But there are 3 alleles in the human population for blood type. So how is blood type determined? If a person inherits a B allele from one parent and an O allele from the other parent, she will have type B blood. So this table right here is showing all the possible combinations for human blood types. It is not showing for just one mating of a male and a female. It is showing for all possible blood types that we know about in humans. And it's not considering positive or negative. It's simply looking at A, B, or O. So for all the possibilities, someone could have an AA, an AB, an AO, a BB, a BO, or an OO. So kind of if you just draw like a little step case right here, these are the same, these are the same, these ones are the same. So everything on only one side of the staircase would be unique. Put that there actually. Right? No. Oh, okay, this one is unique to both. There we go, that's what was going on. Okay, so if someone has both A alleles, or an A allele and an O allele, we call them an A blood type. If they have two B alleles, or a B allele and an O, we call them a B type. If they have AB, then we call them AB type. And actually, if they have OO, then they would be O type. Polygenic traits. Polygenic traits are determined by more than one gene, which is why they are called polygenic. So that's like a polygon, polytheism, want a cracker? No, that's not right. So poly means many. So if you see poly before a word, it means many. So polygon has many sides. Polytheism would be like believing in many gods and goddesses, like those ancient religions with like Greek and Roman religions and ancient Egyptian and all that good stuff. So that would be polytheism. But poly means many. Polygenic means many genes. Feather color in parakeets is determined by two genes. One gene controls blue, the other controls yellow. And so look at that beautiful little bird right there. This one is nightmare fuel. It looks like a parrot, which parrots are kind of nightmare fuel if you look directly into their eyes. This one, I apparently fell asleep while drawing it probably. And that one, I don't know what's going on either. But this one is so beautiful. Perfect right here. So to get a blue parakeet, it definitely is going to have a capital B. So it's going to have that dominant blue gene. And it could have either two blues or just one. If it's the lowercase, that's going to be white. It's going to be no color, basically. So it could be dominant with blue pigment or blue pigment with no pigment. And then these lowercase y's means that it's getting no yellow. So this is only going to have blue because that's the only one that has a capital letter. In the green, it has capital B and capital Y in any combination. So any combination where it will have capital B and capital Y, it's going to show up green because it's going to have a little bit of yellow and a little bit of blue added to the color of its wings and its feathers and its whole body. For the yellow bird, it is not going to have any capital B. There's no blue in this guy's feathers, but there is yellow because of that capital Y. And then the white bird would be no blue and no yellow, so it would be getting the recessive version. So it's polygenic because it uses multiple genes. And it is also kind of displaying our Mendelian dominant and recessive. So blue or white, yellow or white. So we'll say B equals blue, capital Y equals yellow, lowercase b equals lowercase y equals white. So it kind of has that dominant versus recessive, but it's also using a codominance, where it's kind of using the blue and the yellow mixed together. Wait, no, that would be incomplete dominance. So blue and yellow would mix together to make your green. So we have kind of a little bit of both happening here. And that is a polygenic trait because it uses more than one gene. All right, so polygenic traits continued. In humans, eye color and skin color are polygenic traits. The range in skin color of humans is controlled by at least 4 genes. So there are at least 4 genes that have been identified. There could be more, but 4 genes have already been identified that help to determine how much melanin we produce, whether we have like a cool or a warm skin tone, and all sorts of things like that, which determine our skin color. Our eye color are also polygenic. So There's not just one single gene that actually tells you what color your eyes are. There's not one single gene that says what shade your skin is going to be. There's a whole bunch of things that go into that. And last but not least, environmental factors. Genes aren't the only influence on the traits of an organism. The environment can also have an effect. In some turtle species, sex is determined by the temperature during embryo development. At a higher temperature, it will develop into a male. Human height is determined by genes, but proper nutrition is required to reach a potential height. So you could have genes that say you're going to be like 7 feet tall, but if you're not eating your Wheaties and you're not getting good food and good nutrition, you might only grow to be 5 feet tall. So just because you have a bunch of tall people in your family, it doesn't mean you're going to be tall if you are eating just like junk all day. And it could also mean that just because you have a bunch of short people in your family doesn't mean you can't be tall. So if your family was supposed to be tall, but they didn't eat right and you eat good, then you might end up being like super tall and your family is going to be like, excuse you? What is up with that? Why you got to be so tall? And the summary. Go ahead and write your own few sentences to remind yourself what the most important part of these notes is about. And your grading, as I mentioned in class, if your notes are complete, you can get up to 6 points. If you're missing information, this number will go down for you. Questions, vocabulary, etc. on the left. So if you don't have this section filled in, you will lose points. If you did only some of your notes, then this will also go down accordingly because you will not have enough questions. If you don't write your own summary, or if your summary is not very good, you will lose points here as well. Here's the grading breakdown. If you earn 0 to 5 points, that is an F. That would be you take some of the notes and they're not Cornell style. That's going to be your only way you can get less than 6 points. If you at least take the notes, that is a D. If you copy my notes exactly the way I present them, with the notes in the main section, my questions over here on the left, you're going to get 8 points. That is a B. If you add your own summary, you will probably get an A with either 9 or 10 points. So remember, notes without questions and a summary is only a D. It is so incredibly easy to get a B or better on this, and also easy to get that A. So don't waste your time by getting the F or the D. Make it easy. Get yourself the A.